Welcome back, y'all. I gotta apologize. My last video, I said the time between the previous video, my last two videos, the time in between them, I was thinking it was like 2 weeks. I went to my channel on YouTube and it was 4 weeks ago. So I was like, man, I gotta put out some more content. It's getting into tournament season. So I put this deck on the Discord and I did a a breakdown of like the deck, the attacks and the blocks and kind of the philosophy of the deck. So there is like a little deck breakdown. I do like to do that when I post a deck on Discord. I'll do like a full kind of the intent, what I'm looking for or looking to do in the deck, kind of like the overall philosophy on offense and defense, and then some of the key plays and key cards. Uh, and we actually had a conversation on there's multiple Discords, but we had a conversation on another Discord, and it was about just like overall content, deck breakdowns of decks, of course, and I just content for other levels of players. So this will be very high level. Usually when I say high level, that means like general. This will be very like nationals level is what I would consider this deck. I'm gonna do. I'm actually breaking down a tier, doing the images for tiers right now, and I'd like to do a video. I'll do the recording tonight and probably schedule it to come out later, and then do another video that I'm really excited about, and that is like, so you just started Redemption, and it will be like Israel's deliverance, going through the starter deck, and I think that's going to be probably a part two, like a two-part video series of introducing players to the starter decks, and then the next video would be enhancing your starter deck. Um, so we do need some more content out there for starter decks. If you have a channel and you would like to do a starter deck, I would very much appreciate that. I also would love to see a recording of Israel's Deliverance being played, like actual in person. If there's any tournaments coming up where people have the capabilities to do that, that would be phenomenal. I would love that content to be out there. I got an idea I'm working on where I could very much use that. So, a couple videos I'd like to do. I'm going on vacation. Don't tell Brian Jones. I'm going on vacation next week. So a couple videos I want to get done before that. This is GoCheese, and this would be from like the Schools of Thought video I did. This would be more like a Nick Marshall deck. This is too much defense for Nick, so some stuff would come out. But the offensive play style, like what I'm trying to achieve, would be very much the Nick Marshall-esque. And cheese rescues, there's chump blocks and cheese rescues. So with your chump blocks, usually it's initiative based where you can just do something and boom, battle's done. I talked about in my last video where it's like Uzzah, Moss, Firefoxes, cards in that nature. Saul of Tarsus to, I can consider Saul of Tarsus to a CBN Arrest in Philippi to be a chump. Saul to Unsuccessful is a chump. You can have Herod's Temple out and activate Herod's Temple once your opponent goes into battle. You can reserve the top card of deck to toss all enhancements while your New Testament human is alone. So they can come into battle, my opponent. I can trigger Herod's Temple. I can go out with Otho, and I can discard one of my New Testament Gray enhancements to discard all cards in battle. They have special initiative, and they can't play an enhancement. So, boom, block. Herod the Great snags Herod's Temple, choose a hero, and once again, activate Herod's Temple. Should be a block as well. And I also have Clinging to Power and Duplicity. especially Duplicity to play off of Herod the Great to go into absolutely nothing, I just realized. Um, Forgot about that. Whoops. So Duplicity, you don't do anything for Herod, but I do have 2 toss targets for Herod the Great. So there you go. And Emperor Nero with Herod's Temple is good against a lone evil character. So there's some chump blocks in that aspect. This defense can still block as well, just like in general. Good. They're all interrupts and negates with protection or banding. So it's good in that aspect. I should be able to get a couple blocks here. I love Duplicity into heavy taxes, especially off like a band. I'm not seeing heavy taxes played, so I love having both end the battle cards. And I have one end the battle card and stalemate, one end the battle. Futile was in here. I wanted futile in reserve. That's why I talked about Duplicity. And it just came, it was too niche. Like Herod the Great's just a 1, maybe a 2 block guy. He also helps with delivered. So, because it's pretty easy to have him out. So, the offense, and that's like the chump aspect. The offense is the cheese aspect. And what we do is we really maximize our dominance. I've talked before about complacent versus cross. I've had a conversation with it on Discord. And ultimately it comes down to, it seems easier to get rid of the cross and or complacent and play dominance in battle. That seems like the better value than trying to lock the opponent down with cross complacent. Because if they can get around cross complacent, then they can pretty much just maximize their dominance in battle and have a lot of leverage against you if you are not using battle dominance. Dominants are the strongest cards in the game. They should be. My issue as of late are either holding on to my dominance and trying to like overthink on my dominance, trying to get maximum value for them. That's good. Don't overthink. If you have the rescue, use the rescue. Same with the block. Like if you got it, you got it. Don't flaunt it. And the other aspect, like either holding them too late or just playing them incorrectly. And that really comes down to both. And the root cause was I'm trying to get the absolute best of the best value I can for my dominant when it ends up like I'm holding them for too long and not using them correctly. So one way I want to help me with that part of my game is to make a deck that leverages dominance to win the battle on their offense and get to them pretty quickly and ensure nearly guaranteed rescues. So what we do, a lot of this is going to be choose the blocker, and we get to Gabriel quick. I mean, we have Angel Appears and Res Revealer and Resurrection with New Covenant and Delivered, Virgin Birth, very much speed, Lost Souls. On the opening hand, like we're always going to get some sort of value for the most part. It's a 50 card deck with Virgin Birth and Hopper, and having both Denarius and 4 Drachma Coin with ways to get out Peter. It's got a lot of burst and just a lot of speed overall. It could be more consistent. It could have even more speed, but I like where it's at. I like where the defense is too. It feels very balanced from a very aggressive approach that can still block, which I like. I do lose the dominance. I could use Falling Away and Glory of the Lord defensively though, so it's not the end of the world. Let's see. Ideally, you want to get Bethlehem Stable out and get to Gabriel pretty quickly. Because a lot of our attacks, we like having Gabriel to band to mitigate dominance. And we do like to have Annunciation and Child is Born as well. So like New Covenant, Good Seed, Beth Stable. By turn 2 and 3, we should really have things going to where they leave Gabriel in battle. And I can still do something. If they leave Zacchaeus in battle, that's not great. A lot of times I like to attack with Simon and bring in Zacchaeus. So what I mean, Gabriel Simon comes in. We get to choose the blocker. Honestly, I try not to flip Simon. I try not to flip my heroes other than Simon Peter. I try not to flip Simon the Zealous because based on what I'm doing, I like to leave their abilities so I can use them again without having to bounce, because I don't have really any good ways to bounce outside of Lost Child Found. And maybe I bring in something else to bounce. I just haven't needed it yet. So what we do is we bring in Gabriel Simon, Glory Lord. That's pretty good. Bring in someone small, and I'm now an 8-14, and boom, you can't play enhancements. Very nice. Same with Gabriel Zacchaeus. Bring him in, Glory Lord. Same thing. Same two heroes as well with Falling Away. So what you do is and you'll see I'm not running 3 woes. So I have Fear of Man and Caius Caligula. So I can kind of negate Herod's Temple or get rid of Herod's Temple. And I opted out of 3 woes. I know, crazy. I opted out of 3 woes to just go straight Battle Doms. So convert their evil character, or convert their hero and territory, and then choose it. So that's another rescue that should pretty much get right through. I like to choose the blocker. If it works out, choose the blocker, play Resurrection. And with Resurrection, I like to bring in these 2. And then I reveal a good Dom to toss the next, and then I reserve who's in battle. And that ensures that there's only one evil character in battle. So that's another rescue I like to do. That's cheesy. It's very choose the blocker centric. Choose the blocker is one of the strongest things in the game. Always has been. And of course, nice and easy. Choose a blocker and just boom, Angel Lord. Now, they can still add to battle with other dominants. I had Mary of Bethany in here. It was just really tough to get her into battle. But these are really good options, especially when you can look at their hand with 20 shekels and kind of see what's coming. You also have a lot of just good enhancements to back it up. And of course, we have, the big 2. We have 4, what we try to do, 4 nearly guaranteed rescues here. And then the next one, which is sometimes the last, is Gabriel choose, and I drop right on with AOC. And it's like, oh, well, how do you get that? Either Mary, Holy Virgin, or New Covenant, or Good Seed. So I usually set that up. It's really easy to do. Choose a blocker, drop right on. It's especially good when you can look at their hand and kind of see if they have anything and just kind of play it down. And it's just huge value. If their territory isn't protected and you play this turn 3 or 4, you're hitting a lot. Same with Love One Another, that can get around Herod's Temple. It just needs some meat clay. So I don't always get a ton of value on Love One Another, but I can always convert. Like, this offense is very easy to convert if I want 3, 4, or 5 meat clay heroes. The other aspect of where I just don't need to choose the blocker, so that's 5 cheeses right there, and I'll get in Good Seed as well, and that's where I'm getting to the other aspect. I don't need to choose a blocker. I can rescue with John with Good Seed out, and they can block, and I can immediately Good Seed to Zacchaeus, and just boom, boom. And then I can just New Covenant, Good Seed again, and I can rinse, repeat. Same with Joanna. that's a cheese. That's a cheese all day. And the other aspect is just leveraging your heroes. This is very normal. Redemption 101 is when you have mass banding, which is kind of what GOC really brought in to the game. Was not brought into the game. I've been leveraging mass banding since I've been playing. I've always loved banding, and then I found out, oh, you can do more, and like battle cry and old school cards. It's kind of always been my bread and butter. GOC, just most every hero is good, and you can band to any number of New Testament heroes, not humans, not angels. It's just really, really good. Oh, and guess what? You can now take a card from reserve and band. So a lot of just tons of value in one card, especially as you start getting more heroes out. So of course you want to maximize these banding cards, and we like to bring in the tosser and reserve. And of course, just slap Mary in there. Don't slap Mary, but bring Mary in there, and she can snag something from reserve and negate and reserve an evil or neutral card in a territory, because why not? So you can call this GOC good stuff. There's just 100 variants. I call this GoCheese. You're really trying to have initiative. Like I like to start the battle with Mary and then play one of my two. And you're already getting rid of their pretty much best evil or neutral card in their territory. And you're just going into a mass band, one or the other. And even if they do, it's really tough for them to band, because Mary's going to take out one, and you get the hand look in the play, so where you can hand look, put down a character, and then Mary can reserve the character. So that's also really good. I like Salome and Joanna. They're not great banding into the battle, but they're really good starting the battle, especially if I just keep them white, and then I can just play boom, boom. Like, that's good. Maybe I bring in the mass bander, the other Mary, for mass banding. I don't know. But I was kind of looking at what other white hero, and maybe there's Martha and Lazarus, but I actually like Salome. Of course, banding in Matthew's always good. And if you need to, you band in Joanna for the draw or the take. Same with Salome if they have protection in battle. Then you can just convert. Like, you can do a ban, convert, and then play. Banner of Love, I think we're going to see more of this card being played. I think it's just taking a while to get into circulation. Banner of Love is extremely strong. That is very good. If you don't know what that is, Mary gets to come out, negate and reserve an evil neutral card in a territory. Then you can take a star card to your hand. You can take whatever you want here, any of these 3 or 4. So we can just take Magnificate. We have Initiative. We don't need to convert. And we're a 1/3. We then get an Interrupt the Battle, ban to a human. Not bad. And if a male and female are in battle, you may discard an evil card. It's also why I went with Empty Tomb Girls, to where I do have 2 very good attacks. Salome being protected and having Banner of Love to John is extremely strong. Same with Joanna. Banner of Love to John, extremely strong. So any of these attacks are very good. Joe Schaefer will be mad. He was not a fan. He was worried about this being too strong. We'll see how much this comes into circulation. The fact that it's white-purple helps a lot. Because the Empty Tomb is all females, and you got Mary and John the Fisherman purple, like, it's just very good. Especially if John comes in and you got Banner Love to back him up. That's very nice. So I think Banner Love really rounds out these offenses more than I thought. And that's pretty much it. Delivered isn't hard to get because it's so easy to get Peter, and then Peter's always going to be meek. So Peter's usually our meek hero. We get to love one another, like guarantee that really doesn't bother us. Um, and we get a hero for delivered. It's it's really not bad because if you draw this turn 1, you still get the star ability, and usually we have hunter or grumbled shepherds, and if we don't have a hero for delivered, we can put it underneath. It's fine. Same with distressing people. I'll talk about this real quick. We could also put distressing people under if we draw. Like I've done that plenty of times where I didn't draw distressing people on the star, but I drew into grumbled shepherds, and that helped. Um, I I don't like playing with a bunch of fools in my deck, and Jeremy did very well in the Lackey Grand Prix. His final games out there against Jared, where he just kind of whiffed on fools at the beginning, and then all he had in his hand was fools. So it is very glass cannon. With this being like a chump, choose a blocker, it makes sense to have one. You could go 2 just to kind of see if you can get more choose the blockers. I just felt like with this much firepower, just in general, it's so much firepower on this offense that you didn't need really more than 2. I'm just playing the one that's really good, reduce their hand size by 1. I get to negate characters and lost souls and their territory and Old Testament star abilities in their hand. That's like stricken, scattered sheet, delivered. So it's just a really good card to where I can just kind of leave it in their territory for that first turn and maybe choose it second turn. I don't know. They have to have a way to bounce, which isn't hard, but they got to have a way to bounce an Old Testament human. So maybe you just put it in their territory and choose a blocker and, get your redeemed soul and move on. So Jeremy was playing, I think, 4 fools in his build, and I like just 1 for the reasons I said. I still have a good defense. I have a lot of good ways to attack, a lot of cheese already, but bringing in 1 kind of made sense to me to where it doesn't water down my defense, but I still have that potential to get it. If I'm not getting it, then I think I go to 2. And if I'm still not getting it, I don't think I go up anymore. I think I abandoned that idea. So that's pretty much the deck, what you're looking for. Mostly consistency pieces in the deck to start. Like New Covenant can be anything. I love having philosophy, especially early on. Otho is going to discard 1 enhancement. So having that extra that works on Mary and Empty Tomb Girls, plus all my defense pretty much is very good. A lot of speed and a couple blocks in the reserve. It's really good. Like I said, this is very much like a Nick Marshall build, Type 1 Nats draft cheese. Yeah, very much whoops, I cheated. The Nick Marshall aggressive, don't give you any options, mass banding. I always lay out my hand in some sort of way like this. Tournament sometimes, if I know they're playing, if it's like a top player and I know they're playing hand control, like manipulate your hand, I either shuffle my hand before they do something, or sometimes I'll go against what I normally do if for some reason they study, just because I do a lot of videos now. And let's see. So, star abilities, none. Really good. Maybe not really good, but pretty good opening draw just from like a character selection. I do have a 9-4 protection. I have an 8-5 tosser. And of course, I have Matthew. I would roll here because I probably would want to go second, and that was going to be their roll. So yeah, yay, I win. So I would let them go first just because I do want those 3 extra cards and because I don't have Lost Souls. If they didn't have a way to procure a Lost Soul, then that would be even nicer. And I have TTB, Terrifying Beast, that bans to Nero for turn 1 and a Falling Away if I want to back it up. Like, I feel very good about my block. A Matthew here would get 1, 2, 3, 4, a draw 5 on me. But I would feel good about blocking a Matthew, and a draw 5 isn't the end of the world. So then we get into it. So it's just a matter of what Lost Soul do I want to do first, and I want to see what I have and potentially give myself a better option on Grumbled. Yeah, I like seeing that top 6, especially because I have Lost Souls that are good at putting in play, and maybe I'll get more value and then go into Grumbled. So I revealed all the top 6. And I would have gotten Mary as my Grumble. So from here, I know I can see it, but I remember I have 2 evil characters. What I might forget is that I just drew Herod's Temple, because you're not allowed to look at your hand when you do this. So I remember I don't know if I would remember if I drew Herod's Temple or not. So it's really just a matter of what's my evil card that I take. And I feel like I don't need Claudius. I want Herod the Great as a good block, but since I know I have Terrifying Beast and Nero, I'd probably take that negate. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The rest go to bottom. That goes to my hand. This was not drawn, so oh well. And now I can trigger Grumbled. And I could have taken Herod the Great and then underdecked Herod's Temple. We have a lot of heroes. So we could look to Grumble a hero. And we only have a negate really to back them up right now. And we do kind of want Herod's Temple, so I'm not sure what I underdeck here. If we draw into something off Matthew, like I just don't necessarily need. Like, this is staying. So I would have to make a decision quick. I think Matthew goes to the bottom of deck to draw one. And it's not the end of the world that we got delivered. We just don't have anyone to play it on. I would activate 4 Drachma Coin, put down Herod's Temple, and I don't necessarily have to put down Herod's Temple, but if for some reason they block with, like, I don't know. I'm trying to even think, like, if they block with someone really small, this got to be real small for Matthew, though. Yeah, there's not many use cases to put down Herod's Temple because then they could negate it or discard it. And then for Drachma Coin, I do want out just in case I draw into a Peter. And then I already have it active and I can D4 at the end. So I then go with Matthew. I usually give myself like a 3 or a 4 off Matthew. And then I don't have anything with Matthew. So maybe the better rescue was like a protected character with a philosophy, or a toss the next with a negate. Either way, I kind of wanted to see if I could draw into something. It's tough to simulate. So more than likely, I'm just dying there. So it'd be like a turn 1 where I generated some cards, and it's not the end of the world. I'm okay with putting down my ladies, and I feel like I can block for days. Don't need to do anything really else. Put down Nero. If I have to block now, Terrifying Beast, put them in Special Initiative, ban to Nero, depending on what they have. I like to just go straight to, if I got it, either philosophy early on or just duplicity into heavy taxes. Like, it gives me the draw 2, they got to discard 2, and there you go. And I get the end of battle. It's just a lot of value. I don't get anything for duplicity. 1, because there's no meeks, and 2, because I ended the battle. So we draw 3, and we should already know, like, do I have any upkeep triggers? Like, when your opponent is discarding their hands, or discarding their hand down to 8, you should already be thinking of your upkeep triggers. So that should automatically be in your mind. What are my upkeep triggers? When the opponent is discarding cards to get down to 8, you are thinking of your upkeep triggers, and then you should be formulating your next attack. As soon as you remind yourself, that upkeep thing should take you seconds. Look at the board. What are my upkeeps? Draw 3, do my stars, do my lost souls, go right back to keep that upkeep in your mind. I see a lot of people forget that. So we don't need Virgin Birth's territory class ability. So we would much rather do the star on it. And we're just revealing to owner this time. And then we can take 1. We know we don't have Resurrection Revealer in our hand, but we also know we have Delivered. And we can go 4 drachma coin into Denarius, because Denarius is in our deck and 20 shekels is down. So remember, you got to remember everything. That's why redemption can be confusing at times. There's different phases and what happens at phases and all of that. So I wouldn't take Angel Appears, even though I like Resurrection Revealer. I don't need to grab him right now. I feel like I can draw 7, which is almost half of my deck, and kind of get everything I want. Glory Lord would be a really good one to have, but it would keep a lot of dominance in my hand. Also, we know we're going to draw 4, like right here. So if we're going to draw 4, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, plus we can discard a card from hand to draw 2. So we can we could take whatever we want. It doesn't matter. I was explaining that, so it took way longer than it should take. What I'm going to take, though, is just hospitality, just because I already know that I am going to then do darkness. This is what a lot of people forget, too. They'll go to stars and then skip. If I needed to do darkness, I could. Remember, that would mess up my top 4 if darkness triggered, which it does not. Just don't forget. I've seen that before where people do their stars and then forget their souls, or vice versa. They go straight into a soul, forget their star. I already know I don't have upkeep. I can go to Peter, and I don't need to just activate 4 drachma. I can put it on him. That's at any time. And I want to, I don't need to bounce, but I want to reveal opponent's hand and play a character. I then can discard 1, 2. We know prosperity is coming up, and then we know love one another. I've had people before where they're like, how do you remember what's in my hand, or how do you remember what's coming up? I don't know. Look at your cards. I don't know what else to say. And now I can discard a card to draw 2. I have 21 cards in my deck, and I'm going to search for 1 Emperor and draw 3 with Denarius right here in a second, unless I draw into it with prosperity, which either way I'd get New Covenant. It'd be okay. So I think I'm going to have a way to get to Resurrection Revealer. And if I don't, I still have a really good attack. So I think I actually discard Angel Appears to draw 2. Now from here, I cannot use Clinging to Power this turn because I'm going to use Delivered. So I can actually put Clinging to Power to the bottom and draw 1. And now I'm good to go. So I go into my prep phase. I play Delivered. I activate. So remember, I moved 4 drachma coin onto Peter, and then I used my normal activation. Some people will kind of skip over that and just go straight into a Delivered. So now I have Denarius, and I can take an Evil Roman or a New Testament Grey Enhancement. So I could take, like, an evil Roman would be 1, 2, or like if or 3. Or like Saul's an evil Roman, so don't get caught up on just Emperor or something, I don't know. Or if I wanted to take a New Testament Gray enhancement. I like Herod the Great. Oh, and what do you know? I actually misplayed. Oh no, I didn't. While you control an Emperor. So now I'm going to put down my hand to draw for Daenerys. I don't want to show too much. While you control an Emperor, you may discard to draw 3. So now I get back up to hand limit. Now we're good. We already saw their hand. It was a while ago, but hopefully we remember. If needed to, I can kind of go into a Son of God Second Coming here, and that would be my first 2. And what we could do is we can put them in here just so we kind of know what we have. And I don't have my Gabriel yet, but I do have Resurrection, and I can choose the blocker and show them the Resurrection. I can choose the blocker here, and then I can play Resurrection, and I just go ahead and snag. So first you got to play a good Gospel Fortress, and then you can play an Empty Tomb Hero. And then I can ban to 3, and 1, 2. If I want, I can convert Joanna. I really don't think I need to. I'll just bring in Peter. And I would choose a blocker here. I'd first activate John the Fisherman. So now I get to choose order of operations because I brought him in. And I would show a dominant for John. I could draw 2. Now, do I want to draw 2? I already have 12 cards in hand. I played the big 2. I have a really good hand. I have 11 cards in deck. Really don't know if I need to draw 2 here. I know it's nice to, but I don't think I need to. I also don't want to mess up the chances of drawing into distressing people. So I would opt out on drawing 2. I know that's crazy. I always draw 2. And then I would choose to reserve, and I'm tossing the next. So there's cheese number 1. So we'll put Resurrection in our Land of Redemption to signify a lost soul. I have 12 cards in hand. Now none of these guys are protected by Herod's Temple, so we got to be careful of what we're doing. I do have a mass banding here, and I have Bethlehem Stable to get a mass band here, and I have a banding card in hand, so I don't think I need 3 banding cards. So I think I can discard Hospitality, and then I have 2 negates, 3 negates that are all gray. I don't think I need all of them. It's really nice to have the CBP for Saul, but I have a lot of blocking options in general, and I'm really concerned about a Herod's Temple, which, to be fair, I could block with Saul and potentially just use Plot to Kill to discard a Herod's Temple. So it really just depends on what's out. If I wanted to, I can come out, go to Saul, play Plot to Kill, and then depending on initiative, go from there. Or maybe just go straight into a Falling Away. So just depends. Either way, I would discard one of these 2. And then now it's their turn. If they rescue with 1 hero, then I'd block with Saul. I'm just afraid of Glory of the Lord with Saul. If they block with multiple or if they rescue with multiple heroes, I wouldn't block with Saul. Because I don't want to just like lose by numbers. I could put him in a mutual. If they gave me initiative, depending on what I can play, what they attack with, that's what I would snag. Just depends on the situation. And we don't have our Lost Soul yet. Um, so I skipped over Virgin Birth. And why? Because literally what I said the turn before. It's like you just do that stupid stuff. Um, really didn't want to do that because I want to pretty much guarantee myself distressing people next turn. So, oh well, that's what happens when you key in on a card. So from here, we do have our upkeep. And I can grab Child is Born, get my mass band, and if I want, I can New Covenant, go to Good Seed, and play Good Seed. I do have like cards to where if my hand is too big at the end, then it's fine. From here, a couple things we can do. A lot of good attacks. Just depends on which one we want to do. We don't have a bander, but that's not the end of the world. But we could just go John the Fisherman. And I mean, they could just Christian Martyr or Falling Away. We do have Good Seed, but what we want to do is show them that Angel of the Lord. We don't need to draw 2, and we can just immediately Good Seed when they block. If they block with multiples, then we want to Angel of the Lord, and then use Good Seed to bring in Zacchaeus on the other. That's just one thing we could do. The other would be like choose the blocker. Yeah, I don't think that would have been a great one. Salome, if we think we can get a block from hand, having that Child is Born for the mass band is huge too. Having Salome to block or to rescue with Good Seed out's really nice because if they do something, you can just Good Seed and then boom, bring in another. So I think there's a lot of options there. We can get rid of Virgin Birth. We screwed it up anyway. And we're good to go. Once again, we have a bunch of good blocks. We still have Glory. We still have Falling Away. And if we want, we can just trigger Herod's Temple. I guarantee you this is distressing people because that's how it works. Oh, there we go. That sucks. I can trigger Herod's Temple, and I can discard Clinging to Power and discard all. Okay, clearly we're just not going to get our Fool. Make sure we don't have any stars, and then we look at our Lost Souls, but we know we have 8 out, so we're maxed. So we had no stars. We do have our trigger for Lost Souls. We go straight into our upkeep. Finally grab Gabriel, and then we can New Covenant Good Seed. Put that down. We could grab Annunciation if we want to, and grab Right On, but we have Glory and Falling Away with Gabriel, so it's fine. Technically, I think we would have rescued one last turn, so now we could... What do we want? Do we want to Gabriel, Zacchaeus, Glory? Or Gabriel, Zacchaeus, after a Falling Away? Me personally, I would go, if I needed to, like if I could, I mean, I would go Falling Away, convert their hero, Gabriel, Zacchaeus. And then if they had the add to battle, we're not drawing, so like maybe they bring in an Egyptian rebel. But they're not gonna. I'm saying like a Murderous Command, a Sheol. Like they're gonna have the Gates of Hell, and if they give me initiative, because they added the battle, and if there's some reason I got initiative, um, then that's a lot right there. Like, I would be doing a bunch of damage to them. I would have Mary come in, John. If I didn't like the character, I could swap characters. I could go to Joanna. I think that'd be good. And Mary could snag. She could pop their territory and snag Annunciation. Joanna can flip and take. Good New Testament card. Doesn't matter. Yeah, probably AOC. And then John can show you Glory. Toss the next. I am guaranteed to get Distressing People next turn. So I think I would score that. That could be game. Who knows? Maybe they had another add to battle, a dominant. I'm not sure. I have 9 in hand, and we can put down Res Revealer, which came out oddly late, which makes sense because I said it's easy for me to get. I have Ride On and Glory of the Lord, and I say I have Ride On because I can just Annunciation to it. So having Ride On with 20 shekels and choosing the blocker, I should be good for the win. I still feel like I have really good chumps. Like, I can Terrifying Beast and discard a character a lot of times. I will elect to hit their evil. And like, I'll still hit them with Mary and Zacchaeus, and Terrifying Beast will hit their evil. And they got to discard a card of Matching Brigade from hand or territory instead. So that's really good. They hit the evil, and a lot of times you'll get plenty of characters that aren't protected by Herod's Temple. And then I can ban to a Roman, and then I can swap in a different one. And I could play Glory if I wanted to there. That's a lot of value. And then, hey, we got Distressing People out. We know we have an upkeep for Stable. I don't think we have anything left. Oh, yeah, we do. Duh. And then we still have New Covenant. I can play Annunciation on Mary or Gabriel, snag a good dominant from reserve, and I can use New Covenant on Magnificate. And we can go Gabriel to Simon to choose to Ride On to AOC. And we still have, all we could play on Simon is Love One Another. And we have to make it CBN. So that should be enough. But we still have all these enhancements left in our hand. There's just a lot in this deck on offense and defense. So I think it's really good. More than likely, we would have just done Distressing People. And we don't even... Yeah, I would still flip it just in case they had a Chronicles and like a 3 Woes and they used it all. But yeah, this offense is really, really good. It's really fast. It's aggressive. It doesn't let the opponent really block. Jake, who has been on just an absolute dominant stretch. Jeremy just, boom, fool. And he wasn't calling Jake a fool. He was putting fools in his territory and just choosing the blocker. So Jake couldn't even use his defense. That's kind of what this deck looks to do. If you can get out on early Distressing People, you're good. And you're just controlling the battle a lot. Don't let them really play anything in battle on your defense, or do the best of your ability, like with Otho, Herod the Great, Saul of Tarsus, to kind of mitigate what they can do, and then just completely control the battlefield on your offense. And the whole time you're just 20 shekels, Zacchaeus, and Mary, Holy Virgin, and Terrifying Beast, to where you're getting rid of characters anyway. So, very, very good deck. It's on, the first version is on Discord. Honestly, I made the first version and I never played a game with it. I've kind of been wanting to play I've been wanting this offense like to show everyone for a while now. It just took me a while to kind of piece it all together. So if you want, the deck is on Discord. The only difference is it has Pontius Pilate and Holy Grail, and I swapped that out for 20 shekels in Distressing People. So I've never played this deck. I just know it's really good. So we got tournaments coming up. I know there's regionals tonight and tomorrow in 2 different parts of the country. I know it's northeastern regionals, I believe, and southeastern regionals are both this weekend. So more than likely you won't see this video and recreate a deck, but there are big tournaments still coming up. If you're struggling with a deck, this is a very good one. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'm excited for some future content. Hopefully it should be all out this week before my vacation. So y'all enjoy. I will talk to y'all next time. Thanks.